Many ace pilots have served in the U.S. military throughout history, but only one became known as the Ace of Aces. His name was Richard Ira Bong. Already a second lieutenant when the United States retaliated against the Japanese in early 1942, the promising young talent would score his first 5 hits in only a matter of weeks, becoming an official ace and a double one shortly after. His legendary skills would see the impressive pilot quickly advance through the ranks, as his reputation and fame grew exponentially with each exploit during his service in the Pacific, including a legendary rescue mission involving a boat and a crocodile. An unrivaled fighter pilot, Bong used to disregard the inherent dangers of his job and risk getting extremely close to his targets, scoring hit after hit along the way. Then, emerging unscathed towards the end of the war and even earning the Medal of Honor, his life would take an ironic twist when he accepted the only job that surpassed the extenuating perils he had faced during one of the most brutal conflicts the world had ever seen. Dream come true. Richard Ira Bong was a natural pilot from the start. The oldest of 9 siblings, he was born on September 24, 1920, to Swedish immigrant Carl T. Bong and American-born Dora Bryce Bong. Dick, as he was known, then spent his earliest years on a small farm in Poplar, Wisconsin. Bong was a good student and enjoyed several sports like baseball and hockey, but he also showed keen interest and skill in fishing and hunting, and spent many hours perfecting his marksmanship with his Winchester rifle. Still, Bong's love of aviation towered above anything else. When he was 8 years old, he saw a mail plane flying over his house and later recalled that at that moment, quote, "I knew I wanted to be a pilot." In 1938, Bong enrolled in the Superior State Teachers College's civilian pilot training program, which was sponsored by the government. He used to practice with the popular Piper J-3 Cub light aircraft, a high-wing, strut-braced monoplane, and soon earned his private pilot's license. When he graduated 2.5 years later, Bong enlisted in the Army Air Corps Aviation Cadet Program. Then, in the summer of 1941, he entered service at Wausau in Wisconsin and was directed to the Rankin Aeronautical Academy near Tulare, California. It was at this primary flight school that he showcased his dexterity on a Stearman biplane trainer. Bong would continue his training near Taft, California, flying a Vultee BT-13 Valiant as part of a second phase between primary and advanced training. This basic trainer was flown by most American pilots during World War II. Later, Bong was sent to Luke Field near Phoenix, Arizona for the final part of his training. Flying the single-engined advanced trainer aircraft AT-6 Texan, the aspiring pilot made more than one jaw drop. His gunnery instructor, Captain Barry Goldwater, once commented, quote, "He was a very bright student, but the most important thing came from a P-38 Czech pilot who said Bong was the finest natural pilot he'd ever met." The pilot recalled that he could never prevent Bong from getting on his tail, even though Bong flew an AT-6, a very slow airplane. Notably, the AT-6 flew at a maximum speed of 208 miles per hour, while the Lockheed Lightning could double that speed at 414 miles per hour. By January of 1942, Bong had received his fighter pilot wings along with a second lieutenant rank, just in time to join his nation's campaign in the Pacific. Still, given his noteworthy skills, he spent several months serving as an instructor at Luke before transferring to Hamilton Field in San Francisco, where he would first fly the aircraft that would take him to glory, the beloved P-38 Lightning fighter. Man and machine. The Germans knew it as the Fork-Tail Devil, while the Japanese called it 2 planes, 1 pilot. Either way, the enemy recognized the legendary Lockheed P-38 Lightning as a top and dangerous American fighter. With its single seat and twin-piston engines, the Lockheed stood out because of its unmistakable twin-boom design and central nacelle housing the cockpit and armaments. The fighter had a wide variety of roles during its career, including as a fighter bomber, night fighter, and long-range escort, but also as a bomber pathfinder and reconnaissance aircraft, accounting for 90% of the aerial film captured over Europe. However, the Lightning would serve most successfully in the Pacific theater, as well as the China-Burma-India front. In fact, the fighter was flown by America's most awarded ace pilots, namely Thomas Maguire and Charles H. McDonald, as well as the unmatched Bong. Bong's early success enhanced his confidence, and it was said that it made him overconfident and even cocky. At Hamilton, the top student raised both the ire and admiration of the commanding general of the 4th Air Force. Famously, Major General George C. Kenney had to give a peculiar punishment to the cheeky pilot at one point. While performing a series of aerial antics over San Francisco in his P-38 and allegedly looping the loop around the Golden Gate, he would fly low to wave at the bewitched observers on the ground. He then unknowingly blew off a clothesline in a household in Oakland, throwing the newly cleaned garments into the mud. Kenny reprimanded the young man, quote, "Monday morning, you check this address out in Oakland, and if the woman has any washing to be hung out on the line, you do it for her." But the wise mentor already recognized Bong's character. Kenny later wrote, quote, "It was his life, his ambition. I would bet anything that he was an expert in a P-38, and that he wanted to be still better. We needed kids like this lad." Thus, when General Douglas MacArthur himself selected Kenny to lead the 5th Air Force in the Southwest Pacific, the major did not hesitate to bring 2nd Lieutenant Bong to Brisbane, Australia with him. Bong then joined the Flying Knights, 9th Fighter Squadron of the 39th Fighter Group on September 10th, but he served temporarily with the 39th Fighter Squadron of the 35th Fighter Group in New Guinea towards the end of 1942. While there, he would gain a lot of combat experience, flying into almost every enemy formation that stood in his way while downplaying the danger. Bong's first real engagement came on December 27th, when a dozen Lightnings, led by Captain Thomas J. Lynch, intercepted a fleet of 40 Japanese aircraft off Swimmer Airstrip, north of New Guinea. In the ensuing encounter, the Americans downed no less than 12 enemy aircraft, and the soon-to-be hero was responsible for 2 of them, a feat that earned him a Silver Star. And not even a month later, Bong hit another 3 enemy aircraft in 2 days, for which he was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross. By January 8th, only weeks after entering combat, Bong had become an official ace, with 5 confirmed victories. In the end, those would be but a fraction of his total score. Twist of fate. The new celebrity rejoined the Flying Knights in early February of 1943, with whom he would accomplish most of his combat exploits. In March, Bong downed no less than 4 Japanese bombers and fighters, and in early April, he was promoted to first lieutenant, just in time for a bulky Japanese attack on American shipping at Milne Bay. Bong then became a double ace with his 10th victory. The pilot's style was fearless, to say the least. Bong himself credited his success to his risky method of flying, as he preferred to stay as close to the enemy as possible, lessening the chances of a miss. Besides his reputation as an ace, he also became a hero during a particularly challenging rescue operation that saw him overflying 3 fellow pilots on a rubber boat on their way to rescue a peer who had gone missing in the jungle, and then spotting a crocodile trailing the boat. Bong then dived without hesitating and hit the beast with a 20mm round. The pilot was also famous because his P-38's nose was painted with the face of his sweetheart, Marge, who would soon become his wife. By April of 1944, Bong had scored 27 hits, and at his own insistence, he flew for combat duty that fall, even when he wasn't required to. Despite being assigned as an instructor, Bong never missed a sortie and flew innumerable missions over Borneo and the Philippines. Due to his assertive aggressiveness, the pilot scored an unmatched 40 official hits, positioning him as the top American ace of all time. And in December, General MacArthur bestowed him with the Medal of Honor. Ironically, the man who had ordered him to do someone else's laundry was the one to recommend him for the highest American military honor. Kenny later wrote that, quote, "In a sky full of Japanese airplanes all shooting in his direction, Dick would be as cool as a cucumber. But there, in front of everybody, with MacArthur ready to decorate him, Bong was shaking like a leaf." A new chapter. 2 years and over 200 missions had earned Bong the title of America's Ace of Aces, as well as some free time with his new wife. Rotated off combat duty, he then returned home to the only more dangerous job than that of a fighter ace, a test pilot. Bong started a new career with Lockheed Aircraft Corporation and was among those to first try the remarkable P-80 Shooting Star, the very first fighter jet the Army Air Forces operated, which ushered in the jet age. Unfortunately, for all his service and feats during the war, Dick Bong never saw the end of it. In a tragic turn of events, the same day the Enola Gay dropped the first bomb on top of Hiroshima on August 6, 1945, the Ace of Aces lost his own life, well away from the battlefield. That afternoon, Bong soared to the skies, excited for the opportunity to fly the straight-winged Shooting Star, when suddenly something went awry. The pilot attempted to eject, but flames engulfed him before he could reach safety. The following day, under the headlines declaring the bombing of Hiroshima, the newspapers also announced the untimely demise of the legendary Major Richard Ira Bong. Thank you for watching our video. If you enjoyed it, please give us a like and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, subscribe to all our Dark Documentaries channels for more epic stories from the annals of history, and stay tuned.